Right, welcome to week 5 of this 2022 Vikings preplay. Vikings are 1-3 on the season, having just dropped this game 21-7 at New Orleans. They're going to be taking on the Bears in Minnesota, and that's going to be this game. Let's go ahead and roll for the coin toss. Black die is going to be the home team. Minnesota wins the toss, and they're going to elect to defer. Chicago will take the ball on drive number 1. Let's go ahead and see if there is this is Quick Strike Football, by the way, code name Quick Strike Football, and no run back on the kickoff. So Chicago's going to start 1st and 10 from their own 25. 75 yards to go for a TD. Low 2. And let's see. Minnesota had 3 turnovers in the last game. Really just sunk them against New Orleans because New Orleans had 2 turnovers and really didn't do much. But had a late score. It was 14-7 most of the game. And put it away with a late touchdown. So let's see what Minnesota's got against Chicago. So 8 yards and a punt. So good start for the Minnesota defense. And let's get the punt roll. That will be a 35. And let's see about any sort of run back. Not quite. So we've got the 8 here, and then 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Minnesota takes over at their own 32. I guess something to hold this down over here. Minnesota takes over at their own 32. Keeps getting all droopy on me. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like it can't keep its head up. For some reason. Brand new light. Okie doke. Minnesota, first drive. At their own 32. So they've got to go 60. What is that? 68 yards for TD. Let's see what happens here. 8, 15, 20. Good start. 24, 28, 35, 44, 49, 54. And we've got to go 68. And so we're at 54, 57, and a stop. So 57 yards gets them into field goal range. Should. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then 7 is down to the 11. So going to go for a field goal try here. 1 to 80 is good. And it's a 93. Of course, why wouldn't they miss a field goal? And Joseph shanks one. We're going to take it at the 18 because that's where the ball was spotted on the kick. So Chicago takes over at their own 18, having dodged a bullet there as Minnesota went all the way down the field and promptly missed a field goal. So this would be Chicago's second drive of the game. They have 82 yards to go, and they get a lot of nothing there as they get no yardage on the drive, and then they are going to punt the ball. It is a 13-yard punt, which is not great. So Minnesota is going to get excellent field position here, starting at the Chicago 31. Let's check for a run back, I guess. No punt return for a touchdown. So Minnesota, golden opportunity. Only 31 yards to go for a score, although, We'll see. They've not had any sort of luck whatsoever. So Minnesota, second drive of the game. 31 yards is what we're looking at. Look at nothing, man. They're not even in field goal range. What is going on with this game? All right, so we got a punt. Punt is 25 yards. And 25 is going to take them 10, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That pins Chicago down there. Let's see if they run it back for a TD. Perfect. Awesome. Wonderful. Chicago, with their third drive, runs it back. What is that? 94 freaking yards. 94. For a punt return, TD. Awesome. Just wonderful. All right. Saw it here first, folks. That's the second punt return for a TD I've ever seen. And give Chicago the 7-0 lead. So it does happen occasionally. Unfortunately, it happened against Minnesota. Here's the kick return. Maybe we'll have our first back-to-back. Let's see. And we do not. So Minnesota's going to have to go the length of the field. They start at their own 25. This is drive number 4. They are now down 7-0 to the Bears at home. So 10, 16, 25, 27, 31, 37, 47, 57, 63, 71. So one more. 74, one more. And that's a score. So Minnesota shoving it down the field, 75 yards for the TD. Ties the game up at 7, and Chicago takes over on the kickoff. No kick return for a TD, so Chicago's going to have to do it the hard way. I suppose some might say that rolling a 100 is the hard way, but we'll see how they do here. So Chicago hasn't been able to do very much on offense. They do have a punt return for a TD. We're tied at 7. This is week 5 of our 2022 Vikings pre-play. They've got to go 75 yards. That's a 10, 20, 30, 39, 47, 51, and a turnover. All right, all right. So on the 4th drive, they go 51 yards, and they turn the ball over to the Bears. Sorry, Bears fans. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 1. So down to the Minnesota 24. They were definitely in field goal range. And maybe that was a Justin Fields pick. Maybe it was a fumble. Maybe it was, well, I guess there aren't any other turnovers. Who knows what it was? We could make up a story. So Fields rolls out left. He gets pressure from Hunter and Zadarius Smith coming behind him. He throws back to the middle of the field. Eric Kendricks plays it well and makes the pick. That's the story we'll go with. So last drive of the half for the Vikings. They are tied 7-7. They got a big turnover there, and they're taking over at their own 24. So 76 yards to go for a TD. That's 2, 6, and not much after that. So 6 yards. We're going to get a punt. So that's to the 30, right? And going to get a punt here. The punt yardage is 65, so that's a big rip by the rookie punter. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and down to the 5-yard line. Let's see if there's a run back. No run back for a TD, thankfully. And Chicago. Last drive of the half. Let's see what they've got in them. They have to go 95 yards for a touchdown. And let's see if they can go the 95 yards. That would definitely be a killer going into halftime. So only 10 drives for each team. So after the 5th drive, obviously you're at halftime. And they've got to go 95 yards. Let's see. 19, 28, 34, 44, 49, 53, 57, 65, 68, 72, 77. Come on now. 79, 84, 87, 90. 5 yards left. Oh, and they get stopped after a 90-yard drive. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-yard drive down to the 5. Going to try a field goal here to end the half. 1 to 80 is good. That's a 46, so that's going to be a field goal for Chicago as they take a 10 to 7 lead. All right, at halftime, Chicago leads 10 to 7. Minnesota squandering all the chances here. Is that right? That should be a 3. That should be a 4. That should be a 5. So Minnesota should have one more. They should be able to end the half because the Chicago started the half. Let's see if there's a run back in Minnesota. There's not. Okay, Minnesota gets the last drive. So Chicago goes 90 yards. Needed 95, but they did get the field goal. So that's not going to be the half there. It seemed funny because Minnesota should be getting the ball back first in the second half. So let's see if Minnesota can get a little turnaround here, get a score, and then get the ball back in the second half. So Minnesota's got to go 75 yards, 8, 10, 19, 21, 27, 34, 44, 54, 61, 66, 71, a few more yards, and that's 75, and they go the length of the field for a score. That's going to be a TD. That puts them up 14 to 10 going into halftime, and they will be getting the ball first in the second half. So Minnesota will start the second half with the ball. Let's see if they run it back. And they will not run it back. It's a 75. So Minnesota ball, they got to go 75 yards for a score. Let's see if they can do that here in the second half. Let's see what the second half holds for us. Feels like the game is a little bit too close. Minnesota feels like a better team than this. Let's see if they pull away in the second half or if Chicago pulls the stunner. And this is going to be 9, 12, 14, 22, 29, 33, 41, 50, 58, 62, 66, 71. One more card, and that's going to be a TD for Minnesota as they go down the field 75 yards for a touchdown. And that's back-to-back TDs as they take a 21 to 10 lead over the Bears. Ooh, almost a run back there. So Chicago's going to start off with their 6th drive. They'll get the last drive of the game, and they start off the second half. Got to go 75 yards. So pretty good second quarter and into the third here so far. 75 yards to go for Chicago. Let's see if they can drive down the field. 9, 14, and that's all they get. 14 yards. We're going to get a punt by the Bears. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 down to the 39-yard line. And let's see what the punt yardage is. Punt yardage is going to be a 31. So 10, 20, 30, and 1 puts it at the 30-yard line. Does Minnesota have a run back? They don't. So Minnesota takes over with their 7th drive out of 10. And we'll see what's happening here. Okay, Minnesota is got to go 70 yards for the score. 10, 19, 27, 34, 37, 40, 44, 48, 51, 55, 57, 62, 69, 74. That's going to be a score as they drive the length of the field. Sometimes they get into these ruts where teams are just scoring. You know, that's going to be a 28-10 lead for Minnesota as they're starting to put it on the Bears. That was really close, a 2 and a 0. On my dice, it's a 0 and a 0 is 100. So maybe your dice, it's 10 and 10, whatever equals 100 for you. That's going to be a kickoff return or a punt return for a TD. So Chicago, drive number 7. They got to go 75 yards here. Let's see what they got. Oh, they got zip. So no yards on the drive, and they're going to get a punt as they go 3 and out. And the punt for them is going to be a 36. So 10, 20, 30, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to the 39. Let's see if there's a return. No return for a touchdown. So the Vikings are going to start at their own 39. So sort of a good field position here for Minnesota. They're going to have to go 61 yards for the score. Not a short field exactly, but shorter, as they're only 10 yards or so from the midfield. So Minnesota starts drive number 8, up 28-10, and looking for more. So got 61 yards to go for a TD. 2, 10, 20, 29, 39, 44, 51, 61, and that's going to be the score right there, 61 yards. That's all they need. And that is a TD for Minnesota as they go 61 for the TD. And it's now 35-10 as they are laying it on Chicago. No run back for Chicago. Chicago's going to start their 8th drive, 75 yards to go. Minnesota's made it tough for them, haven't really given them a short field. Even on the missed field goal, you know, they had driven it all the way down inside the 30. So Chicago's been starting with poor field position the entire game. Having to go the length of the field is pretty tough. So Chicago's got to go 75. That's going to be a 12, and that's all they get. So stiff Minnesota defense leads to a punt, 10, 11, 12 to the 37. Drop my card. So Chicago punting from their own 37. That's going to be a 58. So it's a big booming high kick. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 2. So down to the 5-yard line. This will be no run back. And Minnesota starts their 9th drive from inside their own 10 at the 5. So a really long field now for the Vikings. It's going to be 95 yards to a touchdown. Possible, not probable. Let's see if they can pull it out. They're up 35-10 on the Bears. The Bears just have had a couple of really rough ones, a 3 and out, a 12 yards and out, a 14 yards and out. It's been tough sledding for them. There's a 14, 18, 24, 34, and a drive stopper. So 34, and we're going to get a punt. So that's out to the 39. They started at the 5. And let's see what our punt is. Our punt is 51, so good punt there from the rookie punter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plus 1 pushes it down to the 10. Let's see if there's another run back for Chicago. Not another run back for TD. So Chicago starts at their own 10, 90 yards. So again, a long field as Minnesota flips the field on them, having started inside their own 10. So good defensive sort of drive there. I don't know why I have 5 there. That should be Chicago with their 9th drive. They're down 35-10. Looking for some positives out of this game. 12, 16, 23, 25, 30, 32, 41, 45, 49, 52, 61, 67, 77, 70, 80, 86, and 95. So they drive down 90 yards for the score. And trying to make it respectable around here. It's going to be a 35-17 is our score now. Minnesota with, well, each team with 1 drive left. So Minnesota starts at the 25. Let's see if there's a run back. No run back for TD. And this is going to be Minnesota's final drive of the game. They put up 35 points. They're playing extremely well at home and playing pretty poorly on the road, actually. They've only scored 16, and they scored 23 points in 2 road games. But at home, they're scoring like crazy. So not sure what that's about. Maybe it's some sort of weird home field advantage in this game. So Minnesota, 75 yards to go. That's going to be a 14, 17, 20, 28, 33, 40, 47, 49, 59, and they've got to go 75, 59, 65, and 71, and 79. They go the length of the field. They get a touchdown in their final drive, and that's going to be 42 points now for the Vikings as they go down for another TD against the Bears defense. Let's see if the Bears have run one back. They did not. It was a 34. Chicago's got 1 drive left in the game. Let's see what the Bears do in their final drive to affect the final score. Fun little football game here. I really like it. It moves fast. I can play several of them. I can play a whole season probably in a weekend, which is pretty cool. I don't know how realistic the scores are going to be compared to real life, but, I'm doing a play, so we'll see how it goes. 2016 was the Eagles-Vikings score in Week 2. Week 2 is coming up on Sunday, per this recording. So 75 yards to go for the Bears. That's going to be a 10, 14, 17, 20, 23, and a turnover. So 23 yards. The game ends on a turnover. And that will be it for the Bears as they get 14, 21, 28, 35, 42 to 10 is our final. They beat the Bears as they should. They also beat Detroit 42-7. So I'm seeing a pattern here at home. That's going to be it for here. Minnesota now 2-4, 2-3. So they've beaten Detroit and Chicago, a couple teams they should. They've lost to the Eagles. They've lost to the Saints, and they've lost to the Packers, which is not what happened in real life, but they lost to the Packers 35-28 in game number 1 in this pre-play. All right, so Minnesota 2-3 on the season, trying to get back into it. And watch for more of these games in this Vikings pre-play. If you want to subscribe to the channel, this is where I'm going to be posting them. If you look in the description, you'll find the game files so that you can play this yourself. You'll be able to download this. It's got a cheat sheet for another game, but you can use the football field here for this one. Also have this score sheet that has 2. If you print it on front and back, you would have 4 on one sheet, 4 games on one sheet. Basically it just has the team, which drive it is, how many yards you've gone, and then the result. So pretty basic, and then enough space, I think, for you to add in all of your plays. You can still, still had 3 slots left for scoring. That would have put them way out there. You need 1d6 and 2d10s, preferably one different color. Although you could probably work around not of having them the same color if that's necessary. And standard deck of cards with 3 aces inserted. So you take 1 ace out of the deck of cards, and then only 1 king. Seems to be good for the turnovers. We had 2 turnovers in the game, both by Chicago. In the last game that we played, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turnovers. So that's just with the 1 king. So not a, if you're worried about maybe there's not enough opportunities for a turnover, it's about a 1%. 1 to 2% chance out of it's not quite 52 cards, so it's actually probably better than a 2% chance, which for most teams, their interception rate is 3 to 5%, something like that. So probably in a good range for the turnovers as far as the numbers are concerned. The ace stops a drive. So if you're inside of the opponent's 30, you can try a field goal. Field goals 1 to 80 is a make. And if you're outside the 30, then that is a punt. You use the D6 as the first number on the punt and the D10 as the second number. And you mark that off, and the next team starts. Always doing on any kicking plays, always rolling for a 100. If it's a 100, then it's a return. We had a return for TD here, 94 yards. So that is always a possibility, but it's only a 1 in 100 chance. So it's not very realistic to get any of those. But that's about what the chance is in the NFL. It's actually quite a bit less than 1%, but it seems to be playing out okay here. I've had 2 punt returns for a TD in 5 weeks of games. So maybe a little high, but we'll see how it turns out in the end. All right, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next